Hey, record loving friends, it's Brian from tokyorecordstyle. It is a beautiful weekday morning and the sun is flooding through my window here, and rather than close the window and try to get a little bit more flattering light on my face and not all these shadows, I'm just gonna bask in the sunlight and enjoy this. And I'm going to hop on the 2025 CD tag put forth by Glenn Calloway from the basement. Thanks so much, Glenn. I'm happy to hop on this tag. I also collect CDs. They also have a place in my heart. They're not my first format. My first format is technically vinyl. I started collecting Christmas records and children's records when I was a little kid. And by the time I was 7, 8, or 9, I got some Michael Jackson records and some Madonna record, the Goonies soundtrack, and Born in the USA, some Beatles records. And then I was quickly on to the Sony Walkman and cassettes. And I spent several years at Sam Goody, the store in the mall, buying cassettes. And then finally the CD player came, 1987, when I may have gotten my first CD player. And it was a beautiful little square, blocky Sony Discman. I don't remember if it was the D11 or the D12 or the D22. I don't remember what the model was. I went and tried to look it up, but couldn't really find it. But it was a really elegant piece of kit, and I really miss it. And I can't recall if I've ever actually had like a proper CD drive. I think I've always had Discmans. And even right now, I still am using a Discman form factor type unit. This is a CD player. You'd think it would be kind of cheap, but it's actually kind of expensive for what it was. I think it was about $200. But I got some huge discount from Tower Records, and it allowed me to get it for less than half price, and it was still expensive for what it is. But it's kind of just this plastic housing that a lot of makers use, and they stick it in different kinds of cases. This one happens to be a wood one, and they've turned it into this one that has this nice little lid that kind of reminds you of a record player. These clicks really aren't that satisfying. It's kind of chintzy, but it has an optical out on it, which allows me to run it to a DAC of my choice and essentially use it as a CD transport. It's a little bit noisy. It's not really that great, but I don't mind it. And the company Amadana, they make other home appliances and they make pretty nice stuff. To their credit, or to their demise, this thing has broken more than once, and they've quickly sent me replacement parts for it. So they've had some great customer service. So I actually don't hate this little disc player, but I'm thinking maybe it's time to upgrade this if I keep my CD game going here. So that was the first question. When did you get your first CD player? So that was, 86, 87, 88, sometime around there. Second question, what was the first CD you ever bought? Now, I don't have the first CD that I ever bought, but it was Run DMC's Raising Hell. I think I got this one, and I also think I got Paul Simon's Graceland. I think those were the first two CDs that I got, which I no longer have on CD, sadly, but I do have on vinyl. So two kind of their day titles. Number 3, most recent CD you purchased. Okay, well that would be a CD that I just ordered yesterday from Book Off, which is a recycle bookshop that also sells CDs and records. It is the title Vita Blue, which is led by Phish's pianist, Paige McConnell. It's a side project that he started, I want to say, during the Phish hiatus around 2005, 6, 7, somewhere around there. Once Phish got back on track, they actually started playing some songs from this album, Vita Blue. And Vita Blue is, of course, based on the famous athletics pitcher, Oakland A's pitcher. He also pitched for the Giants and the Royals. Really excellent, super winning relief pitcher, I think he was, Vita Blue. Maybe he pitched a perfect game. Don't quote me on that. So Paige McConnell is a big baseball fan, and I don't exactly know why they named the band after Vita Blue, but this was their first release. And when Phish got back together, they started playing some songs off of this record, including the track Most Things Aren't Planned, which is a really groovy tune. Vita Blue kind of went away for some years, and then I think 2 or 3 years ago, they released a new title called Crossing Lines. It was their first release in a really long time. Beautiful record that I highly recommend checking out. Another title from Vita Blue. That is my most recent purchase. Number 4, approximately how many CDs do you have in your collection? Well, I think right now I have about 200. I've got some here and I've got some over there and over here by another stereo. But at the peak of my collecting, I might have had something like 700, 800, and I think I burned them all to a hard drive and stuck all the CDs in those Case Logic books. Eventually got rid of all the jewel cases and then finally the Case Logic books and only kept the files. So sadly, I purged most of my CD collection. I can't even remember exactly where they went. As is the same story of my record collection, I am now recollecting lots of CDs that I used to have back in the day. Kept a bunch over the years, but slowly building them up again. Number 5, jewel cases or Digipaks. I kind of got to go with the jewel case. It's just so, there's something so satisfying about a jewel case, you know? I quite like this, just the standard issue jewel case. The little mini jewel case, the little mini ones, not so much. But there's also this other one. I don't think we can call this one a Digipak. This is like a record style CD, and this might be a Japan thing. I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember exactly where I got this. Of course, Miles Davis, Round About Midnight. And what's kind of fun about this one is it has that exact same vinyl insert that everybody kind of hates, the poly Japanese shaped poly insert that is curved that nobody can quite get back into their jacket the right way. And it's got liner notes in it just like you would, you know, an LP liner notes, and it folds out and there's the whole thing. And so yeah, I don't know what should we call these. Not quite a Digipak and not quite a jewel case, but the ode to the standard issue record. Even the back looks kind of like, you know, looks just like a record. Quite cool. Okay. Number 6, your best CD purchase of 2024. Okay, I gotta go with a couple here. I would say I just picked up this disc again. This is Frank Zappa's Strictly Commercial. It's a greatest hits record, released in '95. Posthumously. Why would I choose this record over any of Frank Zappa's amazing albums that are the proper canon records? Why would I go with a greatest hits records? Well, that's because every song on this record, all 18 songs, are from different Zappa records. And I basically learned about Zappa's discography by going through each of these songs and going to find the album from which it came. So this is a autobiographically important record that I scored for like $2 or $3, and I just love the cover photo. How cool is that, right? Frank looks extremely cool with the studio strobes and right in his sunglasses. And the graphic of the CD is quite cool, and you know, he's smoking on the back. So that was a really sweet score. This was something that somebody gave me. This is a CD single. It's a promotional CD that came along with Phish's '96 release, Billy Breathes. And this has the songs Free, Strange Design, and Theme from the Bottom. And Strange Design is not on a Phish record, so this is kind of a very special non-LP bonus track. This is a very rare, cool CD that my friend Michael Warren, who hosts the Dog Log, our online podcast that we talk about Phish, go follow the Dog Log. I'll leave the link in the show notes. And if you care about Phish, this CD tag is going to be a little bit fishy, then go follow the Dog Log. So this was a cool one, and they look like a bunch of goofballs. Okay. Then finally, I just scored this. This is the most recent score. I've talked about it on another video. Nigerian Guitar Roots. This was a CD that I scored at El Sur Records in Tokyo. And it was put forth by a couple of guys who run the record shop. Very cool cats who I befriended recently. And it's got 2 CDs. This kind of feels like a little bit like of a Studio One compilation. It's got a gajillion tracks on both CDs. And it's got this really huge book that tells you all about Nigerian roots guitar music. So this has been a really fun listen, and it's one part of a 3-part series about palm wine music and roots music from Nigeria. So this is a really cool recent pickup. Number 7, show a live album on CD. Okay, I'm going to show you my Fish bootleg collection. These are not official live releases, but these are proper bootlegs from obscure labels that have like bongs and funny things. And these are not online in the typical way that you might be able to find them on the Fish app. These are sort of, bootlegs, sort of lost at sea. I had a bunch of these when I was a kid and they're still out there. So bizarre, funny, like, the European labels that only exist for a short amount of time. Here's the Clifford Ball from 1996, a famous show with really crazy artwork on it. Fresh from the Sea, a show from 94, Great Woods. Another one from, I think this is the following year at Great Woods on Prima Donna Records. Some crazy Italian brand. Another New Year's Eve show. So these are kind of fun. They're not official live releases, of which I have lots, but these are like proper bootlegs. Those are kind of fun. Okay, next up, the best sounding CD in your collection. Okay, I don't exactly know why this is the best sounding CD in my collection, but it's gotta be Beggar's Banquet by the Stones. This thing just came roaring out of my speakers. It sounded so good. It's a 2002 release, and I don't really know what is so special about this, but it's on the Abco label. I don't know if that's significant. I don't remember if that was the original label that it came out on. It doesn't sound familiar. It's, of course, the toilet seat cover. I think there's a couple of alternate covers. I have the LP, which is I think the simple white cover. But what's kind of funny about this is that it has Sympathy for the Devil on it. And the first time I heard the Rolling Stones doing Sympathy for the Devil, I thought they were covering Jane's Addiction. This is a Jane's Addiction song until somebody corrected the record for me. I gotta tell you also, the worst sounding CD in my collection is the Quine tapes. This is a bootleg series from the Velvet Underground. David Quine was one of the founding members of Richard Hell and the Voidoids, and he was a big Velvets fan. And those famous shows when they went to San Francisco and played the Matrix and the Fillmore, and they were all cantankerous and didn't want to be there, and Mo Tucker is talking all kinds of shit about the hippies in San Francisco. These are those shows, and they sound terrible as memory serves me. I haven't listened to this in ages, and I'm tempted to put it on again to go listen to it from a new perspective, some 10, 15 years since the last time I heard it. This is a really great story though. It's 3 CDs. I assume it's still out there. You might know about it. It's kind of like a lo-fi design, and it's got a little book that tells the story of David Quine going to the shows with a tape recorder and how he got invited backstage and how they welcomed him to the rehearsal sessions and how they gave him little hints on when they were about to do something really exciting. So that is my best sounding CD and my worst sounding CD. Okay, next up, number 9, your favorite CD cover or insert. I'm gonna stick with the Velvet Underground and go with the fully loaded edition from, I don't know, early 2000s, a Rhino release. 97 it looks like. And this is cool because it's that iconic cover with the steam coming out of the New York subway, except on this version there's a little holographic version and this green and pink smoke comes up as you tilt the CD cover, which is kind of cool. And there's 2 CDs in here, and there's outtakes. It's loaded, one of my all-time favorite records. It's got a few extra photos in it. Yeah, 2 discs. I think I need a new copy of this. I think I listened to this to death, and it is scratched to pieces. This was like lived in my car for a lot of years. Maybe I should pick up a new copy of that. Okay, number 10, show a CD box set. Now, I technically don't have any CD box sets, and I've only ever owned 2. And one of them was the Robert Johnson complete recordings that I bought when I was probably 15 years old. I saw it way up high on the shelf, and I thought, I think I meant to own that. I think that's important. I should get that. I had that one, and then I think I had a Zeppelin remaster thing maybe that had 4 CDs in it that was really beautiful. Those are the only 2 box sets that I've technically came in boxes and that felt like box sets. If we redefine a box set to mean CD that has 3 or 4 or 5 CDs in a single case, then I kind of have a handful of those. But I wouldn't really consider those box sets. But the one that comes to mind to share for this piece is something that I recently acquired on vinyl, or not that recently, but it's the Orphin Set. And as LPs, it exists as 3 different pieces: Bastards, Ballers, and Brawlers, by Tom Waits, of course. But I think because all 3 of them exist in a single CD, I think we can constitute this as a box set. So not exactly sure if that counts, but a great record from, I want to say, early 2006, a great collection of songs that never ended up on albums, and they somehow came together in this amazing collection of a gajillion great songs. Some of my favorites including Bottom of the World, Lucinda, Fannin Street, Fish in the Jailhouse, Road to Peace, and just a really cool collection of songs with a really cool cover on the anti-label. Heaps of songs. Tom and all his giant horns and crazy instruments of noise. And as I was just opening this, I noticed that I came across this image. And this image has a funny story behind it. On one of the appearances that Tom Waits made on the David Letterman show, he talks about how he's visiting some horse stables. I think he was at the Kentucky Derby maybe, and he was walking around the stables and checking out some of the horses, and they do this thing where the horses lean over the side of the stable and they gnaw at the paint on the fence. And apparently it does something to their teeth and it releases some chemical in their brain, and apparently they get a little buzzed by doing it. There's a name for it, I can't recall at the moment, but he said that one of the horses had actually carved an image of itself, a self-portrait on the side of the barn door, which is absolutely hilarious. So I hope Orphans by Tom Waits, which includes Bastards, Ballers, and Brawlers, will constitute as my CD box set. Okay, number 11, show a CD from your favorite band. Okay, I have lots of favorite bands, and it's really hard to pick a favorite band. As you've already heard, I'm a big Fish head, love Fish, but I love the Beatles, and I love the Dead, and I love hip hop and jazz, and I love everything. So it's a little bit hard to say I have a favorite band, but I am going with Hometown Heroes, The Flaming Lips. This is a really funky CD. It is, again, a CD sort of single from their 1998 album, The Soft Bulletin, which I think preceded Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots, or came right after, I can't remember. But this particular version of Waiting for Superman, a really great song that I love, is actually a little 3-inch disc that's on a 5-inch disc, or whatever these sizes these are, and it just has 3 songs on it. It says here on the front, tracks 2 and 3 from CD 1 and 2 are designed to be played simultaneously to create a truly unique musical experience. So not quite quadraphonic, but something a little bit different. A CD that is meant to be played alongside another CD, which I don't have. I don't have CD 2. I only have CD 1, so I am still on the hunt for CD 2, and once I acquire CD 2, I'm gonna have to come up with some ingenious way to play both CDs at the same time. This CD is Waiting for Superman, and I am waiting for The Flaming Lips to blow me away with this quadraphonic, adjacent, truly unique musical experience. Okay, number 12. What artist or band do you have the most CDs of? Okay, that would have to be Fish. I've got heaps and heaps and heaps of Fish. I've got lots of live albums, and I've got all the studio albums. That would have to be it. Runner-up would be Tom Waits, and after Tom Waits probably comes the Velvet Underground. Okay, number 13. Do you collect CDs and vinyl? Yes, I collect both, and yes, I've gotten rid of both. I haven't sold off my collection, but having moved to Japan, I left my collection behind with a friend, and every few years I would go back and I would take 50 more records from my own collection, and after I did that about 6 or 7 times, finally my friend said to me, "Look, dude, I don't mind keeping your records, but it's a little bit heartbreaking for you you to come back every year and a half and take 50 of the best records from it. So either take them all or leave them all, which was a fair claim to make. And I took everything that I could fit in my car at that moment, which was 400 or 500. And I had to say goodbye to the rest. And same thing happened with my CDs. I just got the files and I thought, okay, I'll be fine with these. And they evaporated into the friendship ether. So they're hopefully bringing somebody out there some joy. Okay, last question is, show a CD that you would like your viewers to listen to and give you feedback on. Well, because I've talked about Fish so much, I'm going to close it out with Fish, and I'm going to show you a live one. This is a live compilation from their 94, 95 runs, which is when the band was really, really hot. The thing about it is that the entire song repertoire is not really represented in this collection, but it is so good. And if you are Fish curious and you don't know about this band and what little you've heard hasn't really hit you right, they are the band that doesn't really do studio albums that great, in the same way that the Dead really didn't do them that great. They are arguably best experienced live, and this is a great record to dip your toe into the Fish universe. Now, as you'll notice, this beat to crap version is the one that I grew up with in my car, and I listened to this 10 gajillion times. It's basically a full show, a set 1 and a set 2, but it's the best songs over the course of a tour or two, remixed and remastered, so it sounds absolutely great. After listening to this record and beating it up for so long and for so many years, I went and got a brand new beautiful copy, still in the shrink, as they say. And it still has the newsletter fan club sign up, the Donyak Shivis, their newsletter, which has some funny stories and little write-ups about the band members and dry goods stores, t-shirts, you can order a comic strip. And it also has a really great book of killer pictures in it, and you can get a sense of what the band was up to in the 90s. So I would say, if you're curious about Fish, this is a great place to start. Really, it's a great band, and I really hope they get their day and their due, because they're really, really so good and so musical, and they've brought me so much joy and so much musical appreciation. This is a shot of when they famously rode in to their New Year's Eve gig at Madison Square Garden on a giant hot dog from the rafters. And this hot dog is in the entrance of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland now. Fish has yet to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Here they are with the giant country horns. Really killer record. A live one, it's called, from Fish, from around 96, 95. Check this one out and report back. Tell me what you think. Okay, Glenn Calloway from the basement, thank you so much for putting forth the 2025 CD tag. I had a lot of fun doing it. Even though I'm a little bit late to this, I will leave a link to Glenn's original video and his questions in the show notes. And if you want to participate in the CD tag, if you love CDs and are collecting them or enjoying how cheap they are these days, then get on board and I'd be happy to watch your video too. Okay, Glenn and Vinyl Community, thanks so much. Happy New Year, everybody. The sunshine, it's still barely shining on me. I'm gonna go get some more of it outdoors. I need some vitamin D, some vitamin CD. Da-dum. Okay. Until next time, see you at the record store. Bye.